Wake up, everybody! Welcome to Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio. I'm your host, David Rutherford. As a behavioral training specialist, motivational speaker, author, and life coach, my mission in life is to help you discover the behavioral truths behind what it takes for you to succeed in any environment imaginable. So stand by and let me help you embrace your fears, forge your self-confidence, and learn to live the team life. HOOYAH! All right. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Boom, boom. All right, everybody. I want to make sure that you are reading me loud and clear this morning because this show is going to be explosive. That's right. I'm talking about total explosions going off in your mind and in your heart, in your soul, in your body. And it's because today's show is just going to be intense. I mean, it's going to be the type of violence and positive action that you need in your life, that you need to get yourself squared away, that you need to get off your butt, to get out there to flip your life boom upside down on your head and really get things going and off to a fresh start and to where you're ready to attack life. I'm talking attack life with a vigor and a momentum that you've never known before, man. And if you have, maybe a long time ago, maybe now it's time to bring that momentum back into your life and really start having some definitive action. So I want you to stop for just 1 minute. Let's slow down. All right, so here's the deal. I want you to close your eyes or imagine or whatever you're going to do, but I want you to think about a SEAL platoon, a group of guys that are stacked up outside, and think about this in your life, how you're stacked along you've got the problems stacked along the outside of the wall where the terrorists are inside, the negative insurgency is inside waiting for you. It's planning. They're hatching out these devious little plans on how they're going to ruin your life. And so there we are. We're a SEAL platoon. We're stacked outside this building. We've gone for like 2 days sneaking up to this place, sneaking and peeping, crawling right up. We're all quiet, everybody. No one's talking. We're using Navy SEAL hand signals and all that stuff. And we're outside and we're stacked on that door, folks. That's right. We're all stacked in our nice CQB, our close quarter battle line. We got our breachers up front. They're getting ready. All right. So you're sitting there and your hearts are pounding. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, and you're sweating because you've been humping your kit and you're wearing 110 pounds of extra gear, and you see the breachers move forward and you see the guy on the 2-man who's behind him pulling out the strip, the C4 strip, and that heart is pounding. Boom, 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 and your mind is racing at 1,000 miles an hour. You're like, who's behind the door? What's coming next, man? I am so fired up. I am so stoked to get after it and get on these guys and make this happen like never before, man. I can't even, because your soul is desperate. It's desperate for the gratification of breaching that door, getting through that door to the other side with 2 pounds of high explosive positivity that guarantees you, folks, that guarantees once you're through that fatal funnel of bad decisions, you're going to reach the light at the end of the tunnel. You're going to have that light that's on the other side of that door. You're going to have that thing that inspires you, that lifts you up, that makes your dreams come true. But you just got to get there. You got to get through that door first. And so you're sitting there. You're the number 1 man. You're the number 1 man. You're 2 man. He gives you feel the squeezes come up your leg all the way from the back. There's 4. There's 3. There's 2. There's 1. You give a head nod while your sights are fixed on that front door handle. And all of a sudden, here it comes. 3, 2, 1, execute. Boom, boom. All right, boom, there goes the blast. 1 man's in, 2 man's in, 3 man's in, 4 man's in. Going to the left, going to the right. Shots ring out. Pop, 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 pop. Clear right, clear left. All clear. You've done it. You just went through the door, folks. You just did your first direct action. You took life by the horns and you blasted through all the stuff that is inhibiting you from becoming who you want to become. It's that simple. It's that simple. You have to take direct action in your life, folks. You cannot wait a moment longer. You cannot wait for another second. The planning against you is happening right now. It's time for you to take the fight to the negative insurgency that is inhibiting you from succeeding. It's time for you to punch through that door and feel what you're really made of. Feel what you're capable of. Folks, man, this is hardcore. The direct action mission is one of the most dynamically, offensively aggressive missions that we have in the soft community. I mean, think in your mind, think total violence of action, going in with an intensity, a rapidness, and an initiative, a focused approach to get the job done now, not later on, not down the line when they regroup, refit, and have more funding from some other place. Now, it's time for you to take direct action in your life now. Wow, that was an entry. Holy cow, man. That's the way you do it, folks. Now, forgive me if my voice is a little raspy or a little worked over, but I had a big direct action week this week. Had an event out in Willis, Texas, with the Willis, Texas County sports teams. Man, that was arranged by Audie Jackson, the head football coach at Willis, Texas, and I just want to thank Audie and Booster Cub president and all those folks down there who welcomed me down to Willis, Texas with open arms and let me spread the Froglogic message to about 600 kids down there. And I'll tell you what, folks, I've seen some pretty amazing things, but this event was one of my favorite of all time because after I gave my self-confidence, my motivational speech to the self-confidence hammer session, awesome, 4 young people, 2 football players, 2 volleyball players that really showed me what they were made of by being cold, wet, and sandy and just getting hammered on stage as I was bringing them the business. But later on, right after that, we went into the gymnasium and we did this pretty amazing exercise where I had everybody doing air squats and everybody was getting down and holding it for a minute or 3 minutes or 5 minutes and it was pretty awesome because I ended up seeing these kids really push themselves, but then it was like, all right, let's go into push-ups, right? Let's see who's really got what it's made of. Let's see the push-ups. And then we got down and I said, all right, we're going to do one, 30, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And then we did a minute and I had some guys like scream out, well, let's do it for longer, dude. And I was like, all right, man, let's go. So we started the clock. And folks, now I've seen, again, like I said, I've been an instructor. I've taught commandos around the world, right? I've seen all kinds of things with people. And I got to tell you something, folks. I saw 5 kids 5 kids get in the push-up position. Are you ready for this? 5 kids in the push-up position. I mean, they weren't perfect. Back wasn't planked the whole time, but they never touched their knees. They never stopped the effort. They never kept their arms from their belly hitting the ground. None of that ever happened. Let me tell you what the time was when I finally had to stop these kids from doing the exercise to get back involved with the rest of the Froglogic day we had going. 1 hour. That's right, folks. I saw kids, teenagers, young kids go for 1 hour because they wanted to. Because they wanted to take direct action in their life and challenge themselves in order to see what they were made of. Down here, in the gut, man, and inside, down deep, they wanted to see what they were made of. So they held it for an hour. And this one young girl, this 7th grader, Bailey, and if you're listening, Bailey, I just got to say, bravo, Zulu. That was one of the hardest things I ever saw in my life. And remember, when the pain gets bad, go to that happy place in your mind and you can do it again. I'm telling you. She was in 7th grade, folks. 7th grader did this for an hour. So think about to yourself, when's the last time you put out that hard for an hour and something that's really brutal like holding the push-up position? In fact, I challenge every one of my listeners out there. See how long you can do it for today. Or heck, while you're listening right now, drop on down. See if you can hold it in the push-up position for the entirety of my show. And then you can compete with Bailey, the 7th grader from Willis, Texas. Now, folks, that's hardcore, man. That's absolute hardcore. Now, here's the deal. Here's what you got to start thinking about, man. You got to be ready for that direct action because after I left Willis, Texas, I went up to Chicago and I worked with some of my pioneer investment partners and put on a couple events for Merrill Lynch and big UBS event up in Lake Geneva. And again, challenge these successful people into going into combat of their mind and really thinking whether or not they've been pushing themselves, really testing their resolve, their intestinal fortitude to take direct action in their life, to give something back, right? to live the team life. And then I followed it up yesterday, one more in the week, where I went up to Beloit College with an incredible partner and very close friend of mine, Nate Fair, who works for Hartford Group. And he invited me up. He paid for me to come up there and speak to his old alma mater and his old football team, the Beloit Bucks. And I got to tell you, man, I got hardcore in these young men. I put the test to them. I told them the 4 Medal of Honor stories from my Team Life motivational talk. I told them about Mike Mansour. I told them about Mike Thornton and Tommy Norris and Lieutenant Mike Murphy. I told them those stories and then challenged those young men. I challenged those young men to see what they were made of, to see if they were capable of doing something at that level in their lives, if they were ready for the next mission, to really step up to the plate and have that sacrifice, to take the direct action in their life that was going to make the impact, that was going to change their lives right then and there after they went back and they got out on the football practice field that day, whether they were up for the challenge and they were going to take it, I mean, folks, that's hardcore. That's hardcore, man, and I think I got to him. In fact, I know I got to him. I accomplished my mission. So that's the direct action I've been taking all week. What have you been taking? What have you been doing to get your mind right? To get yourself ready for the battlefield of life, folks? I mean, what have you been doing? I mean, have you been working hard on changing yourself? Have you been getting busy? Have you been getting down to it? Are you taking a full frontal assault on your fitness and your health? Are you mentally breaching the negative comfort zones that you create for yourself? When was the last time you were in a spiritual stack? And you had your spiritual teammates next to you and you got in that spiritual stack and you had that pinpoint faith ready to overwhelm all of the internal and external fears that you have, the fears that these evils in life that are ripping you down and tearing you apart, that you're prepared and you're ready to attack that spiritual, to use your spiritual DA mission and overwhelm that evil in your life. Are you ready for that? Are you doing that? And if you haven't, folks, if you haven't, then I'm fired up. I'm fired up for you, because if you're listening right now, that means you're ready and you want to do something about it. You want to live your DA right now with me. You want to learn how we do it in the SEAL teams. And guess what, folks? That's what today's show is all about. That's what today's show is all about, folks. It's about you taking the direct action in your life, me teaching you how the SEALs do it, and then to share with you a little bit of Froglogic. A little Froglogic concept, man. Some 4 concepts that you can use in order to get your direct action on in your life. Now, everybody always talks to me, when people haven't heard me or they haven't listened to me before, they always want to know, hey, frog what? Froglogic? That's pretty bizarre. What's that all mean? And well, folks, Froglogic is my motivational philosophy. It's my ability it's what I've been working on for 20 years in my life. As I've been searching the human condition in every possible environment you can imagine, emotionally, spiritually, physically, trying to understand what enables us to succeed in the most austere, hardcore battles we face in life. And this journey has taken me from the lacrosse fields of Penn State to the frigid waters of the Pacific Ocean, the mountains of Afghanistan, and to the shores of Haiti on a mission trip with my church, and all around the world, really searching and watching people and being with people and sharing my life to understand that, folks, unless you're ready to take direct action and begin embracing your fear, forging your self-confidence, and learning to live the team life, then you're going to struggle. And you're going to struggle bad. Because that insurgency of negative insurgency in this world, it is coming at you. It's coming right at you every single day. And it ain't going to stop, folks. I hate to break it to you. I'm sorry. It's just human nature. We are what we are. And unless, something big happens here in the future, which we hope, and everything rights itself. But when humans got control, man, we like to mess things up. And that just is what it is. So you got to be strong. Your team has to be strong and prepare for this. So I'm here to help you today, right? on Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio to talk about these Froglogic concepts, to talk about everything else. So concept one today we're going to discuss is concept one in executing direct action in your life is issue a warning order. That's right, a warning order. Find out the truth of your life. Concept two, prepare to breach. You got to train, right? You got to get your mind right for this explosive entry. And then concept three, contingencies. You got to plan, you got to figure out what those contingencies are that once you're through your door, what are you going to do next? And concept four, folks, momentum. That's right. Keeping that momentum going, getting through that first room, punching up, doing a moving call, getting to that second door, and getting into the next room, and the next room, and the next room until finally you get through that entire target, and boom, you come out the other side, and the light is shining. You smile on your face, you're living your dream, and you're happier than you've ever been happy in your whole life, and you feel alive. So that's what today's show is about. So after we cover all that, folks, we're going to take callers. If anybody out there wants to call in on Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio, you can call in at 760-913-4130. That's 760-913-4130. Call in. Tell me about the best direct action mission you've had in your life. Tell me about the worst direct action. Ask me a question. Ask me anything you need. If you're stuck and you can't move forward in your life, call me up and I'm going to help you out. That's my mission. That's my mission, folks, is to help you out in life. All right. So let's get started. And if you haven't listened to the show before, what we got to do, folks, is we gotta define direct action first. We got to get everybody on the same sheet of music, everybody thinking the same way, period, because everybody's got their own different little ideas. And so what I do is I go to one of my favorite reference sources out there, Wikipedia. Now, all you wiki haters or whatever, get over yourself. It's a place to start. It's not the be all end all. Anything that takes you to figure that out, right, Knuckles? So we start with the definition off of Wikipedia and to put things in context so you understand and you know what the deal is, right? Okay, here was the interesting thing this time with Wikipedia, folks. There were two definitions on Wikipedia for direct action. There was a civilian direct action and a military direct action. So I'm going to read the civilian one first, okay? Just understand and pay attention. Direct action occurs when a group of people take an action which is intended to reveal an existing problem, highlight an alternative, or demonstrate a possible solution to a social issue. This can include nonviolent and less violent activities which target persons, groups, or property deemed offensive to the direct action participant. Examples of nonviolent direct action, also known as nonviolent resistance or civil resistance, can include sit-ins, strikes, workplace occupations, hacktivism, etc., while violent direct action may include political violence, sabotage, property destruction, blockades, assaults, etc. By contrast, electoral politics, diplomacy, negotiation, arbitration are not usually described as direct action, as they are politically mediated. Nonviolent actions are sometimes a form of civil disobedience and may involve a degree of intentional law-breaking, where persons place themselves in arrestable situations in order to make a political statement, but other actions such as strikes may violate criminal law. All right, so there you have it, folks. It's not just a special operations community we're talking about. We're talking about people that out there in the civilian world want to take direct action. Now here, let's get to the potatoes here, right? The meat and potatoes. Let's get to the nuts and bolts of the military direct action definition. All right. So in the context of special operations, direct action, or DA, consists of short-duration strikes and other small-scale offensive actions conducted as a special operation in hostile, denied, or politically sensitive environments, which employ specialized military capabilities to seize, destroy, capture, exploit, recover, or damage designated targets. I like the last part, damage designated targets. Direct action differs from conventional offensive actions in the level of physical and political risk, operational techniques, and the degree of discriminate and precise, again, folks, precise use of force to achieve specific objectives. Now, All right, so DAs are done by SAS, they're done by Navy SEALs, Green Berets, Rangers are awesome at DAs, Marines, all that. Man, DAs are a part of what it goes. So, that's the definition of it. So you got some semblance of what I'm talking about. Now let's get into how these actions are important in your life. And because what you got to do is you got to start first by identifying where your insurgency is coming from, right? And this could be anything, folks. This could be if your finances are disorganized. This could be if you're spending too much, you're not saving, you got no plan. It could be if your job is driving you crazy, you're not happy, you've got these golden handcuffs of what you have to do in order to make a living, all right? And then it goes into all kinds of other things where your insurgency might be. It might be recognizing that you're in a troubled relationship and what you need to do about it. Being able to say you're sorry, taking direct action in your life to actually say sorry once in a while, okay? Or maybe it's spending more time with your children. Man, I suffer from that tremendously, being on the road all the time. Man, I need to spend more time with my kids, period. That just is what it is, right? And then it can be more stuff. It could be even if you're younger, trying out for things, doing things that are outside your comfort zone, signing up at the local CrossFit box, asking that special someone out on a date, asking for a raise, trying out for a new team, or even pushing your team to the higher level. That's taking direct action too. So, folks, these are huge things that you need to think about. I mean, because they're surrounding you all the time. They're all over the place. All right. So you've gotta be prepared to be able to address these things and then move forward and solve them. Now I know what you're saying. You're thinking to yourself, well, Rut, man, how do we solve this? How do we take direct action? How do the Navy SEALs do it? Well, I'm here to tell you. Let's get through it, okay? You all been waiting for this. You want to know the deal, so I'm going to share it with you right now. All right, SEALs, this is the direct action mission in the SEAL mindset is awesome. We love it. This is what we look for. That's the number one op we want to do. We want to come in and just go Rambo and take it right to the enemy. But there's a process of how we learn this, where we embrace this. And it first starts internally. It starts within. And because think about it, folks, think about running into, an Al-Qaeda den, right? A bomb maker's office, a bomb maker's place. Think about what it took, the shit's butt took to run, to fly into Pakistan, into raid bin Laden's home and compound. Think about those boys, what they got inside them going. And another shout out to my brother and dude, you guys are the best. Thanks again for that. We will never forget, never forget anybody out there in the teams who's paid the ultimate sacrifice, who's wanted that mission. Because folks, we've lost 85 teammates since 9/11, and these are men who are willing to go and do the direct actions of life, the real ones. I mean, the ones that are risky and high risk and dangerous are going against the worst people on the planet. That's what SEALs are all about. Now, where does this come from? It starts in buds. That's where it starts. It requires this ultimate willingness to sacrifice in order to do great DAs. That's what you got to think about. You got to, well, where does that start? It starts in the pain, in the extreme fatigue that you learn in buds, folks. The extreme pain, the extreme fatigue, thinking you can't go another step, and then all of a sudden you can. And the light goes on in your mind, and you're like, man, if I just put out and I challenge myself, I can do this. It's awesome. Because you gotta learn you gotta train like you're gonna fight, folks. You got to train like you're going to take life by where you're going to be kicking in that door, taking that direct action. That's what you have to train, that level for it. And don't be surprised when your training is substandard and then all of a sudden you try to kick in a door and it's bolted and dead bolted and there's 15 guys on the other side that are like, no, and halt, you aren't going anywhere. All right. You know the deal. Well, in buds, they teach us to push past that no matter what. That internal inhibition, that fear that wells up. And because we have this total commitment to one another, we're able to embrace that fear at the highest levels and start to learn to have a willingness, a want, a desire inside our little bellies, to go after the fight. Now it starts evolving more in SQT where we start teaching these people to think about and use some autonomy and come up with new ideas and not just map it up for them like in buds, but thinking for themselves, and the desire builds to want to do direct action. And that desire, they get their trident, now they're wearing their bird, they get to a team, they're in a platoon, and now it's time to sharpen those skills. To make those skills so razor sharp that They slash through that door like a cutting charge, right? They blow those hinges off like a shotgun slug. They do it with their intestinal fortitude. They do it with their willingness, their excitement. Their excitement, folks. Our excitement to embrace our fears, and because our self-confidence is so dialed in and we're living the team life at the highest possible level. So folks, we want to run into that room. We want to punch through that door, throw a flashbang in, and take the bad guys down. That's what we live to do, because DA missions are exciting. They're fun. Yeah, they're a little weird. They get your blood pumping, boom, 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 boom. But they're awesome. They make you feel good. And you know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. Because when you are explosive in your life, when you push through something like you've never done before, when you climb over that hill, right, or you punch through that door of negativity that's just, you're feeling the scratches of the door frame as you're coming through and it's ripping your clothes, or that nail frag hits you in the neck or something, or whatever it is, man, you don't flinch, you don't stop. You don't allow that anticipation or fear as you're stacked outside and the explosion goes off. The boom! That charge going off is what instills the momentum in you. I got this amazing buddy in the teams who's a legend in his own right. He's my best friend, man. Guy's one of the most incredible operators I've ever known. And he tells me that when he's like the 1-man or 2-man or whatever, when a breach goes off, when they do the 3-2-1 execute or whatever they do, and how it works, he's moving forward when that charge is going off. Now think about it. Think about what the lesson is in that, where it comes from us. We move forward into life. We move forward. We use the momentum of the man behind us and the faith they have in us and the faith we have in them, the faith we have in the mission itself, what our objectives are, the unrelenting, holy commitment to what we're doing operationally. That's what drives us through that door, through that wedge, through that fatal funnel. That's what gets us in the room. That's the momentum. So that's where it comes from, folks, in the SEAL teams. Are you doing those things in your life right now? Are you doing those things right now? Are you embracing that type of behavior? Are you training hard for your next DA? Have you, I know in my mind you've identified one of those problems. You've got one in your life. We all do. There's no one that doesn't. So have you decided to plan? Are you starting to get ready for that? Maybe, maybe not. Well, I know what the deal is. You're like, Rut, I don't know how to do that. Instructor Rut, I need help doing it, man. Help me figure out. Well, folks, that's why I'm here. So let's talk about how we do that. Let's talk about some Froglogic concepts. And again, folks, Froglogic is from my 20 years of experience, but it's so much more than that, because it's wrapped in to 70 years. 70 years, folks, of operational training and elite lifestyle performance doctrine from the SEAL teams. I mean, this is 70 years of sacrifice, 70 years of bleeding, 70 years of figuring it out the hard way, folks, on how to achieve that desire for the direct action. I mean, you think about our forefathers, the underwater demolition team. These guys would go do direct action on reefs, and the Japanese with a pair of swim fins, swim trunks, dive knife, and 50 pounds of TNT. That's all they needed. Boom! To get the job done. I mean, that's hard charging, man. So, the Froglogic concepts that I want to share, and if you want to know more, folks, if you want to know more about Froglogic, check out my website, teamfroglogic.com. I've got an amazing team out there, and our mission is to provide motivational content for you that's common sense, that's based on real-world practical experience and training, that's derived from the SEAL teams and my experience. And we're here to serve it up to you. We serve it up to you on all the social media sites. I give a daily dose of motivation on Facebook every day. I tweet motivation all the time. I share it on Instagram. I'm on Pinterest. I'm on Google Plus. You can, my YouTube. Go to my YouTube and get free downloaded videos. Free videos about motivation there for you. All right? I'm here. I want to give this to you. This is my mission, my calling, is to share with you how to do this stuff, how to take direct action in your life. All right, so today's 4 topics, 4 concepts that we're going to share with you is let's start with number one. In order to execute direct action in your life, concept number one, you got to issue a warning order. Now, a warning order is a brief or like an order that comes out initially that gets everybody thinking, gets everybody on the right page, and gets them going towards this operation. Now, for you, your warning order needs to start something like this. Hey, this is my problem, and I'm aware of it. I drink too much, and I'm aware of that. I take too many pills, and I'm aware of it. I'm too afraid to confront these people in my life that are bringing me down, and I'm aware of it. Folks, that's the first step for you. Having some truth in your life. You gotta have the truth come out. And if you need help doing it, folks, then go ask somebody, your swim buddy, someone on your team, or man, hell, just go sit down with a counselor or someone out there that wants to help you. That's their mission. And ask them, hey, am I screwed up? That was one of the greatest things about the teams, man. When you were screwed up, they'd let you know. In fact, the first time, my first platoon, I used to do, we were doing some training up at Pendleton, doing a CQB, hitting the kill house, and I just was not getting this one little tactic, and I messed it up several times. Well, that night back at the little camp we were at, man, my platoon mates helped me understand what I needed to do. They helped me realize the importance of conducting a direct action in the right way. They understand me where I was not focused because I needed help. Now, here's the deal. Here's one perfect way to do it. Take an inventory, right? Write it down. Get out your little notepad or your little iPad or take notes or whatever and write down all the things that are inhibiting you from achieving your dreams, all the things that are stopping you from being a better person, all the things that you need to do to make yourself better. Write it down so you can see it, because then it's truth. Then it's absolute truth, folks. And that's what you need, all right? So listen, man, then you got it all down. Now, once you have all that laid out in front of you, that's the deal, right? Because then you got some idea where it's coming from, some idea what to do and all that. And now what you got to do is you got to think about concept two is you have to prepare to breach, right? You got to figure out what type of explosive, how much, how many people you need to break through that door, what you're going to do on the other side, man. And you got to get ready for that. You got to start your training. You got to recruit your team. You got to find out who's going to be in your stack, right? Who are the specialists that you need? Is it your pastor? Is it your wife? Man, I'll tell you what, my number two, man, my wife, who I affectionately call the Admiral, she's devastating, man. She's been doing direct action her whole life, man, and she comes in hard. She is a pipe hitter. She's accurate. She knows what to do, man. She can take it. She can take two in the chest and keep on going because she's hard and she's an amazing two-man. And sometimes when I can't hack it, I need to get in the rear and get behind. She'll take one, man. She'll take points. She'll go through the door first for us. That's what finding the right team's all about. Okay? Now think about what kind of charge you want to use. I mean, what is the igniter? What is your blasting cap that starts the reaction to get it going, to create the breach that cuts this negativity and this insurgency in half, or this barrier that's stopping you? Man, that's what you got to figure out. And what is it? Is it going to a mortuary, or going to visit your friends in a cemetery? Man, we in the teams, we get that every day, man. I was just back in California. I walked into one of our favorite bars, Danny's in Coronado. You walk in there, man, you got your explosive charges all over those walls. And that's every single one of the team guys that's passed in the last 13 years. Up there on the wall, friends, family, the brotherhood. And if that isn't explosive charge enough for you and the teams and enough for me to push myself through whatever I'm facing in my life, then man, so go search for that charge. What is it? You need something that ignites you, that puts you forward, that causes the blast, that penetrates it, that knocks the will out of the enemy for just a second so you can begin to steamroll them. So you can punch in that door with violence of positive action and knowing no matter what comes back at you, you're going to be okay. Because that leads us into concept three, contingencies. Now, what are contingencies? Contingencies are ideas that what might go wrong. How Murphy's going to come in you, flip you up on your head, and knock the snot out of you. All right. Who's behind it? You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen behind that door. You don't know what's going to happen when all hell breaks through and flashbangs and CS gas is going off, man. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what kind of heavies you're going to take. But you got to be prepared for Murphy. You got to be prepared for those heavies because they're coming. To think that you're going to go into the enemy's den, into their heart, where their heartbeat is, boom, boom, or it's more like bleh, bleh, right? Into where they live, where they sleep, where they operate, and take the fight to them. To think you're not going to take enemies is cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. It's nuts, folks, because you're going to take heavies. That's what the awesome part about life is, and we know this in the SEAL teams. You don't think we get it? We get it, but we love to do it. We want to go through that door. We need to go through that door. So should you, and be prepared for the heavies. Now, here's the deal, folks. If you have too many contingencies, you're going to get analysis and paralysis, or paralysis through analysis. All right, it's going to lock you up and shut you down. And that ain't cool, because when you can't think and you're too afraid and you like, what if and what if and what if? I mean, that's the deal, folks. You can't what if things in life. You got to just do it sometimes. Yeah, think about it. Come up with a couple contingency. If this happens, I'm going to go move left and shoot from the right. If I go, whatever. You come up with these contingencies, this plan of action in the midst of the direct action. Now, here's the deal. If you get hit, and you're going to get hit, folks, you got to fight through that pain. You got to fight through it. You got to take it on the chin, take it in the heart, take it in the soul. As you're doubled over in your gut, and you're like, that one stung a bit. You get back up, or you have your teammate grab you by the collar and back by your kit, get you back up, get on your sights, and start firing. Because they're not going to quit until that negative insurgency is all KIA. It's going to keep coming back at you, keep coming back at you. And that's the way it is. So if you don't learn how to fight through the pain, then it ain't going to work. You ain't going to be able to finish the mission, folks, because you're going to get beaten down and you're just going to start to quit. You can never quit conducting direct action in life, folks. You can never quit. All right. Now, here's the last one, all right? And this is a doozy. All right? Concept 4 is keep the momentum going. That's right. Life is this huge momentum back and forth. And imagine it like this way. So you're walking along, and, a lot of times life kind of just happens, right? Like maybe it's not this total planning and you have the determined sight what's going to happen, but you're walking along, you're in a pretty good state of mind. And all of a sudden, you hit that crossroads and something pops up out of nowhere. Well, the longer you sit at that dividing, that intersection of life, picking one way or the other, the longer you're just staying stagnant. You're not doing anything. So get to that moment, reassess what you got in front of you, all right? Refit your kit if you need with the right gear, the right mindset, the right spiritual faith, and then move. Keep going. Take another step. Move through that next door. And if you decide, if you are in the craziness, the boom, 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 flashbangs everywhere, going in the hardcore direct actions where the ones you've intentionally gotten into, guess what? You've got to move to the next door. You've got to move on to that next door. You've got to punch into the next room. You've got to clear that entire house of negativity, folks, from top to bottom. You can't just clear one hallway, one room left, one room right, and that's it, and it's 3 stories high. Because what's going to happen to you? You're going to get all rest. You're going to take your kit, drop your guard, and whambo! You're going to get smacked in the face, folks. So you got to keep that momentum going. You got to keep it going. Absolutely, 100% keep the momentum going. So reassess, refit your gear, your kit, and move to the next door. Keep it going. Now, here's the deal, folks, and let me throttle down a little bit for you, and just think about it like this. Think about it like this. The one absolute constant in your life is going to be change. All right. So being ready for those DAs, being engaged, so to speak, with your life means that you have to recognize that it's coming, it's happening. You're going to hit those spots where you need direct action. It is what it is. And the changes, that you're living are only happening because of the choices that you make, because of the DA that you operate on, the things that you choose to do. And if you don't do that, all right, maybe this is you and you're struggling with this a little bit. Maybe you sit back. You're way back here. And you're allowing someone else to kind of enter the doors for you. Or push you and they're just pulling your hand along. And you don't really care which door you go in. Think about what you're doing. You're just at the behest of somebody else. That's not taking direct action in your life. Right? You're living up on somebody else's actions. And that ain't healthy, folks. Think about moving through the various doors of your life, and so many times we allow those on the other side of the doors to control the doors. We're actually waiting for them to invite us in, right? For the negative insurgency guys out there to invite us in the room so they can put the smack down on us. What? That's nuts in my mind. But I've been there. Trust me, I've been there plenty. Been there many times where I just was waiting for life to just kind of open the door for me. And I just stood there because I didn't know when it was going to open. I didn't even bother to test the knob. I didn't even bother to test the knob to make sure that it was locked, to make sure. I just sat there waiting for someone to do it for me. That's nuts. You got to make sure that, you don't allow your own fear to be your own external deadbolt that you can simply slide back. Or knock it off with a sledgehammer, a hooligan tool, folks. Listen, we allow these simple deterrents to dissuade us and stall our movement forward. And it's a simple fix sometimes. Life requires you to take hold of your life by opening the right door at the right time. Whether you got to blast it or just turn the knob. Because this ultimately leads us to the light that's on the other side of that door. All right. Woo, boy. Action, explosive, intense. Man, that's why I love doing this show. That's why I love Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio, man, because it's a way for me to get this excitement out of me that gets all stored up, that gets all fired up when me and my team come up with the show topic on Monday and our Monday morning order meeting, and then I get all these amazing ideas and I just think about it all week long. It gets just totally fired up to share this with you. So, folks, if you're out there and you got a question, you want to know something, you want to ask me about direct action in your life, go ahead and give me a call right now, all right, at 760-913-4130. That's 760-913-4130. And I'll take your calls here in just 1 second. So I'm going to take literally a 30-second break to get a little water in my scraggy throat, and we'll come on back and we'll answer questions. And then also, if you got a question on Twitter or Facebook, shoot them out right now at David Rutherford at Team Froglogic or David B. Rutherford on Facebook. Shoot me a question. I'll be happy to answer it. I've been getting them all week because we've been putting out there. And we'll see what the deal is. And if you just got a kick butt story, call in and tell me about your direct action, the best DA you've had in your life. All right, folks, I'll be right back in 30 seconds. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being patient. I got a little cleanse on my throat right now. And so if you're out there and you got a question, you want to call in and call in at 760-913-4130 to ask. I'll take my first question here off of Twitter that I just came in, and this is a good one, all right? A lot of people ask me this during the week through my social media platforms, and they always want to kind of know, here's a question. What should one do if a member of their team is a cause for the need to perform the direct action mission? Hey, folks, this is a very, very common problem, all right? This is the deal that people face all the time and all their different types of life, and whether at work or at home and their things. We always face that one team player or not so team player who just doesn't get it. They don't even see the recognition that they need to have some direct action in their life, right? So here's what we do. All right, everybody's seen that show out there called Intervention, right? Well, it's the same thing, folks. You need to bring people, first off, everybody always wants to go and tattletale, right? Everybody else wants to go out there and tell their manager or tell somebody else, and he's not pulling their weight, or she's not treating us right, or she doesn't want to be a part of the team and all that. Well, did you ever go up to this person and confront them? Did you ever walk up to them and say, hey, what's the deal? What's going on? And do it in a cool way first, right? Hey, what's going on with you? Is there something that you don't like about being a part of the team? Is there something that you don't why you don't want to participate in these actions that we're trying to do to make our team better? Is what's the deal? Give them, force their inventory, right? We talked about in the beginning that you got to take an inventory. You got to know the truth about why it is you're not willing to take direction. Well, sometimes these people just don't even know. They don't even know that they're acting like knuckleheads. I'm telling you. I mean, I've seen it thousands and thousands of times. I have Fortune 100 company, their senior management ask me this all the time in my motivational speaking business, that they're like, hey, Rut, what do we do, man, when, our senior managers won't get off their butts because they're just lazy? I'm just like, well, have you done a DA on them? Have you gotten them, sat them down and say, what's the deal? We want to know. And bring in their peers. Bring in their peers or bring in your other teammates and sit around and say, hey, we're feeling this. We're feeling this. We're feeling this. Could you work on this, please? Or tell us what's going on. Why are you not in a good place of mind? Why don't you want to be on the team? And when you do that, you force a reaction. Now, everybody there, a lot of time people just won't even put up with that, right? They're so good, or they're whatever. They're not even gonna, they're like, Anhalt, listen, buddy, don't you tell me what I need to do. I've been doing this for 198 years. I know what the deal is. Well, you don't, knucklehead, because you're a horrible teammate. So first start out cool, right? Try and get them to have that inventory, that truth. And then next, take it up the chain, man. Have your chain set up one of those peer counseling reviews with everybody. Because people got to know, man. Think about the disservice you're doing that if you allow them to just continue on in life. Now, you don't have to be an ass about it, all right? You don't have to be a total jerk and steamroll people at all. Man, there's some amazing momentum that's gained in this world when you talk about compassion or empathy, or you talk about what I love to talk about most, and that's love. Using love as your high explosive charge, right? How awesome is that? When you plant a big, huge 50-pound satchel of love on somebody and detonate it, and they can't resist that. And hopefully, they'll realize that they need work on how to place their love charges. Man, that's one of the most beautiful things that we got, folks, is the ability to love one another and do that. So utilize that, man. Utilize that spiritual gift that you have, that spiritual stack, and just go big with it. And once you change their minds and they figure out, hey, it's time to have them, then if they don't at that point, then it's time, hey, maybe it's time you DOR. Maybe you ring the bell on this particular pick and you go pack your sea bag and take it some other place, because we don't want it here. We don't want it here. We don't need it here. We're all about the team and living the team life, because that's key. That's huge. That's what gets us through life, is living the team life. And when you're not going to be a part of that team, and let's say you're the breacher, man. Let's say we're depending on you to slap that charge up on, or quickie saw through the half of that window on the front of that ship. And you decide you don't want to do it, man. What happens to us? I've got a buddy out there who once quickie sawed through a ship window for something like 12 hours. He wasn't going to quit, man. Because that's how committed he was to his teammates. So you got to help those people get there. That was a phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal question out there. Thanks for that coming in on Froglogic, all right? I really appreciate that. Now, one of the big things that we talked about during the week on Facebook when we posted the title of the show, and by the way, everybody ought to go to Facebook and Twitter and all that and see the new artwork for this show. You can go to Blog Talk Radio / David Rutherford, Navy SEAL speaker, and then find this show, which is called Navy SEAL training, direct action, and check out the new artwork from our creative director, Brian, man. This stuff, again, it's just captures everything. It's just beautiful. So feel free to download that, use that as your inspiration for the next week or month or whatever you got to do. And that's why we do these, are not only just for us, but they're for you to share as well too. So the big thing that came up a lot this week with taking direct action was fear. And we started a conversation out there. Well, what inhibits people from approaching this fear with that anticipation, that gut wrenching feeling before you breach the front door, and how to deal and how to cope with that. Well, there are a bunch of different ways, all right? There are a bunch of different ways that you can address that type of fear, that anticipation. Just say, hey, man, once you move through and get into the action itself, it'll subside. That'll go away because you'll get so focused on getting the job done, and doing it right, that that fear goes away, and your mind, your focus, and all this stuff that comes forward and coming right at you, that's what takes over for the fear. It embraces it and utilizes it, right? And the more repetitive you do with it, the more you get better at embracing your fear, the better you become at taking that direct action. Man, I'll tell you what, the first time we ever did something like that downrange, man, I was scared stiff. But the confidence that I have in the guys that are around me, the teammates, the fact of my confidence in my training, how much I prepared beforehand, all that stuff. Listen, here, I'm going to break you a little secret right here. By pulling in tight, pulling in real tight. Get a nice perimeter, pulling in tight. Okay, listen. You are never going to defeat your fear. You are never going to get rid of it. Fear is going to be with you for your whole life. But I'll tell you what. There's another thing that you have, another piece of kit, another piece of explosive charge that is better, that teaches you to embrace your fear, and it's called love. All right, folks? Love. If you allow the love that you feel from your teammates, and the love and the passion you have for your purpose, and the love and you have for the direction to push through, to get through the other side, to move through that terrorist kill house, man, and get to the other side of that negative insurgency, no matter what, no matter how many heavies you take, no matter how much pain you're in, whatever, it doesn't matter, folks. You'll learn to embrace that fear with that love. You'll gain that momentum you need, and you'll be able to conduct real-world direct action in your mission over and over and over again. So HOOYAH. That is awesome. That is absolutely awesome, folks. That's one of the coolest shows I think we've done to date. And I hope everybody out there embraces what we're talking about here and brings it on board and really starts fulfilling their life by taking positive direct action to change your life today. I mean, not next week, not now. Start planning today. Start figuring out what is the stuff. Take the inventory that's beating you down, all right? Write down that list that I talked about, whether it's finances, your future, your security. I mean, heck, man, if you got a roof over your head and your clothes on your back, you can put food on your table, you're doing pretty good. I even bring it back a couple steps further than that. Hey, man, you're above dirt. You're doing well. You're living life. So now, just get a little motivation, a little momentum, a little push, get the right team, and start hitting the houses. Start hitting those targets in your life. But it takes that aggressive mindset, that violence of positivity, right? The fully That's the positive thoughts ripping through your soul. That's the positive ideas, the positive concepts, the embracing. That's giving people you love hugs every day. That's when I get up in the morning, I get a chance to throw my arms around my baby girls, man. Man, that is huge. That's the training I need to face life and to face the hardships every day. The fact that I got the best number 2 man on the planet, my wife, the Admiral, she's going to run in any door there is with me. My teammates at Team Froglogic, man, they jumped on board. They're ready to get into this direct action of life to help all of you to accept their mission, to charge into this negative insurgency, to provide you with the tools that you need in order to become a tactically sound human being, prepared for the direct actions of life. Now, folks, man, if you want to know more about Froglogic, you want to know more about where this comes from and what it's all about, then, man, tune into my radio show every weekend, Saturday, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, Navy SEAL Blog Talk Radio. You can download, they're all out there. They're on iTunes. They're on you can download them off the website itself. You can get them on your phones. And if that isn't enough, man, go to iTunes and check out Navy SEAL Podcast, where I give these motivation. I turn my daily dose of motivation off Facebook into a little MP3 download for you. So you can put that on your Nano. This weekend, I'm going to put up a ton of them. Download those, listen to those to get you going every day. Heck, man, go to my website, teamfroglogic.com. Watch all my videos on YouTube, all right? I've got over 1 million views, man. These things work. They inspire people. And they're yours for free. I'm not charging you nothing. And if you like that stuff and you embrace it, you really dig it, man, then heck, go for it. Buy my book. I wrote a book, an adult book called Navy SEAL Training, Self-Confidence, where I lay out 8 missions to help you forge your self-confidence day in and day out of your life, both personally and professionally. And it's just field manual. So there's some exercises for you to write some things down, take some inventory. Get the book, man. Embrace it. Learn to forge your self-confidence. And when you do that, man, you can find it on iBooks, on Kindle, on Nook. Download it off our site in paperback. You can get it on Amazon. Get the book, man. Then call me up and say if it helped. Let me know. Because we're working on 2 more books. We're going to re-release a kid's book here in September and another book, a PT manual for kids. And folks, September is going to be a big month for us at Team Froglogic. It's called our Team Life Month. And this is one of the main concepts in Team Froglogic, the motivational philosophy I've been working on for 20 years. All right, this team life push is what we're going to do. So we're going to have all the radio episodes are going to cover my team life missions, team life, what it means. And we're going to have videos posted every Monday that's about the upcoming show that weekend. Every show is going to be about the 4 missions. We're going to have special Navy SEAL guest callers that call in. We're going to issue a bunch of new t-shirts on the website, a bunch of new products to get you dialed in. So you can find those at teamfroglogicstore.com. These are really all about, it's us, our whole purpose, our whole mission, our job, our livelihood, our life, our team life is dedicated to helping you guys accept your missions in life, all right? So that's what I want you to get fired up to look for. I mean, we're all about helping you. I want to thank my team for inspiring me this week. I want to thank, of course, always my teammates from the Brotherhood. Every single day I'm earning my trident on behalf of these men who I love and care about dearly. I mean, these guys are amazing. And I just want to give a shout out and thank you to them. I want to thank all my partners this week out on the road in my motivational speaking business. I want to thank Willis, Texas and Audie Jackson. I want to thank John G. from Pioneer and Cliff, and I want to thank Nate Fair from Hartford and for helping me get to Beloit College to fire those young men up. Gents, just like we talked about, accept your mission and you'll live the team life. All right, folks, so we're going to break out of here. Remember, and then we're going to play a little, one of my teammates, Jan the Man Lennon, who's in charge of Froglogic Music. We're going to break with his song, Saltwater Heals Everything. But first, don't forget, folks, I'm your host, David Rutherford, Navy SEAL, motivational speaker, behavioral training specialist, author, and life coach. It's my mission to help you in life embrace your fears, forge your self-confidence, and learn to live the team life. And one last thing, don't forget this. I'm your new swim buddy, so let's get motivated. Ow!